thank you for always accompanying and supporting our channel. This is the place to update the latest, most shocking and dramatic details surrounding the movie Beyond the Gates, where secrets, conspiracies and betrayals never end. Let's explore with us the special developments that you definitely cannot miss in this next part. When everything seemed to be under Hayley's control, the storm suddenly came in the most cruel way that she could not foresee. From the very beginning, she meticulously calculated every step in a sophisticated plan to deceive everyone, especially Ashley's family, about her pregnancy. In Hayley's mind, there was only one goal: to keep her position, power and the privileges that came with it by tying her fate to an influential family like Ashley's. But what she never expected was that every lie, no matter how carefully arranged, would one day be exposed in the most bitter way. All this time, Hayley had been pretending that she was carrying the blood of the most important man in Ashley's life. She appeared tired, complained about morning sickness, and often used health reasons to avoid situations that could expose the truth. She even did not hesitate to bribe doctors, forge pregnancy certificates, and create convincing evidence to the point that people around her completely believed that she was really pregnant. In the eyes of everyone, Hayley became a model of sacrifice. A woman who carried great expectations for the whole family, especially Ashley, who always valued honor and family lineage more than anything else. However, the worst happened at the moment when Hayley was most subjective, when she thought everything was settled and no one could overturn the truth she had created. While Hayley was enjoying the feeling of false victory, believing that the fake pregnancy was her ticket to the center of power, the skeptics began to act silently, quietly but decisively. Even Ashley, who had been softened by Hayley's sweet words, could not help but feel suspicious when witnessing her unusual behavior. With sharp instincts and experience, Ashley gradually realized that something was wrong. She began to secretly collect information, investigate from the smallest details, every medical record. Every statement of the doctor that Hayley hired was closely checked. And then, the horrifying truth was finally revealed beyond dispute. In the worst moment of her life, Hayley's false face was exposed in front of many relatives, friends, and those who always had absolute faith in her. The whole villa seemed to be immersed in a stifling atmosphere. Everyone's eyes turned to Hayley, who just a few hours ago was still arrogant and proud with the story of her pregnancy that was blatantly embroidered. Those looks contained anger, disappointment, contempt, mixed with utter astonishment. And the person who was most hurt was none other than Ashley, who had always protected Hayley from all rumors, who had hoped for the appearance of a new member as a thread to connect the broken relationships in the family. Faced with the truth being exposed, Hayley completely collapsed. All the layers of cover she had painstakingly built for so long were now just a pile of broken ashes. In despair, she could no longer maintain her self-respect, kneeling before Ashley, her eyes red with tears, begging for forgiveness. Her choked voice echoed in the heavy space, each word and each letter like a sob, showing her weakness and extreme panic. But no matter how Hayley begged, no matter how miserably she cried, it was all too late. Trust once betrayed is not easy to mend, especially for Ashley, who always puts honor, sincerity and loyalty above all. Besides Ashley's anger, other people in the family could not hide their contempt for Hayley. Some people expressed regret for someone who once had the chance to become an important person but ruined it all with his own hands just because of his lowly calculations. Others see this as a lesson in greed and lies, a testament to the fact that the truth will eventually come out, no matter how cunning the crook is. Meanwhile, Hayley was immersed in a feeling of humiliation, pain, fear, and despair. She understood that everything she had worked hard to build, all her plans, all her ambitions were now in vain. The coming days would not only be the coldness and contempt from those who had once trusted her, but also the prospect of being pushed out of the vortex of power that she had tried to cling to. But above all, what frightened Hayley the most was the coldness and cruelty in the eyes of Ashley, the only person she could no longer sway. Even if she knelt down, cried and begged until she was exhausted, that frozen heart would never open again. The atmosphere in the mansion that day was so heavy that it was suffocating. Everything seemed to collapse before Hayley's eyes. The image of her kneeling in the middle of the great hall, her eyes blank, her face blurred with tears. became proof of the miserable failure of someone who dared to challenge the truth. The gossips were endless, everyone told each other about Hayley's painful fall. From a woman who seemed to have everything to someone despised by society, all happened in the blink of an eye. And no matter how hard she tried to hold on, all doors of hope were closed forever before her. Besides Hayley's collapse, the incident also brought about other serious consequences. The relationships in the family were pushed to the peak of tension. The hidden conflicts that had been there for a long time took this opportunity to erupt violently. Ashley not only faced betrayal from Hayley but also had to endure pressure from public opinion, rumors, and criticism aimed at the honor and reputation of the family. She understood that thoroughly handling this matter was not only to solve Hayley's personal problem but also a necessary action to protect the reputation of the entire family. As the days passed after the incident, Hayley gradually became a name mentioned with contempt and disdain. Those who used to flatter and praise her now turned their backs on her without mercy. She became alone, completely isolated in the very world she once thought she had conquered. There were no more admiring glances, no more compliments. All that remained was abandonment and curses for those who dared to trade the trust of others to satisfy their personal ambitions. As for Ashley, although in pain, she quickly regained her inherent strong and cold demeanor. She did not let weakness take over her mind, gradually dealing with the consequences so that everything would soon return to normal. At the same time, she also told herself that she would never let herself be hurt by two-faced people like Hayley again. This event was like a wake-up call for everyone about the dangers of greed and lies. And above all, it affirms that no matter how cleverly the truth is hidden, it will eventually be exposed. And the liar will sooner or later pay a heavy price for what he has done. We will continue to update the next exciting developments of Beyond the Gates on the channel. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any shocking upcoming episodes.